who do you think is going to win the semi-final before we get into why and how and all that? So we'll start with the obvious fan here with the South African jersey. Samir, tell us who's going to win.
South Africa. No two ways.
No choking.
Even if they choke, they'll come out of it and they'll win. Or they'll make sure that New Zealand chokes more.
Sunil,
I will like to take a contrarian view because Samir says that South Africa, I have to, and I'm wearing a black today. It's a coincidence, but I'm wearing a black. So I'll go with New Zealand. New Zealand on their given day can, I mean, for them to have made the semifinals is a big deal given the kind of opposition that they've had. Um, Also, I think South Africa on the big day, I mean, choke, yes, but they are a team that has gone through that in the past. So there will be some ghosts of that riding on their shoulder as well. And New Zealand is not a weak team. As a pack, they hunt as a pack of wolves. They're not a weak team. It's not like you have South Africa playing say West Indies, for example. West Indies are a good T20 team, but South Africa would be better 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10 against them. New Zealand would still have their chances, and once they have their chances, they can, take those. So I'll go with New Zealand.
Yeah, Ireland is obviously a strong team in ICC tournaments, but for some reason or the other, they haven't looked all that strong. They should not have lost the match to England. And South Africa's just looked, everything has gone well. They've looked like clockwork, and they have backup options. They're not relying on one batsman or one person in the middle order or one person to bowl. So I just feel like if a few things go wrong, they still have enough in place to sort of put it off.
I'll have to go with that too. I'm also for South Africa, even though I'm a Kiwi at heart. I think South Africans have been too clinical, and I think that's going to show. It might be a tighter game than the previous clash, where I think Markram just took it away. That was a sublime innings. So it might be tight, but South Africa for me. Let's talk about the match in a little more detail. Matchups. On paper, obviously South Africa is looking stronger, but just overall thoughts on how the two teams are going to compete on the big day, Samir.
But I think for South Africa, it's important for the batting to click because that's their powerhouse. That's something that they've sort of built on, and different batsmen have had opportunities to show what they can do, and they have sort of someone or the other has always come to the party. Get a good start with Markram and De Kock, and then just build on that. Somebody's got to play sort of some kind of an anchor role. David Miller's mind always comes in mind, but hopefully he's not there in the over number 3 or 4 because that's not good news overall. High level matchup between the teams. New Zealand's not got as many resources as South Africa has, but they always make the best of that. South Africa's power packed, but again, knockout match. The C word is always on the mind, and hopefully it's not on the field.
Since you mentioned that, because on the New Zealand side, I think yes, resource management is great, but they've been pretty top heavy. Tim Seifert and Finn Allen have been pretty much the two guys who've been scoring most of the runs. I worry about the middle order. Probably Rachin's going to come true to form, play a Sanju Samson like innings in case the openers don't succeed. Uh, I also have this inkling that Mark Chapman's going to come good in this game because it's a solid player. He just hasn't come good in recent games. So I'll use my law of averages theory again and put my money on Mark Chapman to do something special. Thoughts, Sanir, on what could happen?
I I agree with Samir. South Africa they have had far too many batsmen who have come good. The only thing that goes against any team, and this is not just South Africa, on a given day is that you don't have a lot of time to recover in a T20 match. So if you go down 33 for 4 and West Indies struggle against South Africa in their qualifying match, where they were 6 down for next to nothing, and they recovered from there and scored 170, 180, but it wasn't enough for that kind of a pitch. That is going to be a problem, and especially because there is that weight of the 2024 T20 final, World Cup final on South Africa. That could lead to some kind of a start where you have lose South Africa losing wickets early. But talking about New Zealand's batting, I have my hopes pegged on Glenn Phillips. He's been doing a lot. He's been fielding very well. He's been bowling. He's been chipping in with his bowling at some or the other point. But I think there will come a stage where, and he's been batting up the order in this tournament. He's not been languishing down at 6 or 7. So you never know with the Glenn Phillips.
We'll see how the jersey is looking on Samir on Wednesday night. Drenched in sweat, or is it going to be all dry?
We're all set for Sunday morning.
You're talking about choking. One team South Africa hasn't choked against is New Zealand. So maybe you're going to tell us about the difference in their track record in ODI World Cup versus T20, where T20 seems to be a little in favor of South Africa.
Yeah, so funnily, people only remember the chokes that South Africa have had, not the chokes that others have had against them. They have choked against New Zealand in ODIs. They choked in the 2011 World Cup quarterfinal. They choked in the 2015 World Cup semifinal in ODIs. But surprisingly, they have a 5-0 record against New Zealand in T20 World Cups, including two very close victories, one by 1 run and one by, I think, 2 runs.
2007 was an interesting one because South Africa were being led by Graham Smith, and he had just won a T20 tournament in England, and he was said to be this very innovative T20 captain. And they went to the match against New Zealand, beat New Zealand. That just tells me that we have probably been a little unfair on South Africa. They do a better job in T20 cricket than what we have given them credit for.
Sunil, you talked about it previously as to how the pitches have gotten slower as the tournament's progressed. Eden Gardens, what do you think it's going to do to either team? Does it favor one versus the other?
So I'm not sure about favoring one versus the other, but Eden Gardens just hosted a match on Sunday. They have 2 days of preparation, obviously, and there's a match on Wednesday. So 2 days seems to be an enough amount of time, but you still could get a pitch which is slower in nature than what we've seen in the past, which includes the India-West Indies match. Even in the India-West Indies match, what you saw was that some deliveries from good length, or just short of back of length, were not coming onto the bat. And the balls bowled by spinners were easy to hit. When you pitched it up, they were easy to hit. But those back of the length might be a problem. So that might be on display when you see in this when you see South Africa play New Zealand in the semi-final, because it may not be a used pitch, maybe a fresh pitch, but you have that area being used when people are when the fielders are fielding. So we could see that batting second may not be as easy, I believe, as compared to, say, the India-West Indies match, where batting second easier with a due. So yes, you may have an effect. You will have an effect, but I think teams may think a lot more about batting second.
Neither team is like the king of pressure. I mean, South Africa will not want to chase. South Africa will probably want to bat, put a big score on the board, and they've got the bowlers on the team to sort of get the job done. So I think definitely if they win the toss, I think they should and they will bat. I even think New Zealand sort of, they haven't looked overly convincing. I don't think they want to put themselves in a spot where, they have to face a very strong bowling attack and have to chase in a big game on a pitch that may slow down. So I think whoever wins the toss will bat, and I think that's key.
So in terms of those bowlers who can take advantage of those conditions, I mean, Maharaj has not had the best tournament. Santner also very similar. Surprisingly, Ravindra pretty good tournament as with the ball, not so much with the bat.
What's happened very well for South Africa is that none of the pitches have been really spin bowling friendly. So Maharaj himself has gone for runs, as you rightly said, Nishit. Even in the match against India, he took those 3 wickets in the over because India had no option but to go after him, and I would say that he got lucky with those 3 wickets. If the pitch really goes slow, then these spinners do come into the picture, where New Zealand could get that edge over South Africa again. South Africa have relied on Lungi and Gidi slower balls, but other than that, there has been a Corbin Bosch, there has been a Marco Jansen, and Rabada has not looked the best. But when the pitches go slow, how do these bowlers adapt as compared to a New Zealand team which has the spinners to exploit those conditions? And this is obviously on the assumption that the conditions would change and become a little more spin friendly.
Fair point, yeah. And they have the versatility to have Ish Sodhi and Glenn Phillips as well.
I think Markram has done well with the bat, with the ball. He's surprised. He's sort of come in when you don't expect him to come in. And if wherever Maharaj falls short, I think Markram can sort of fill the gap.